Hey folks, it's Coach Pete here with Mr. Marty Hensley. Marty, we have had so many questions over the years on the Thrift Savings Program, otherwise known as TSP. I thought we'd put together this guide series and we're calling Thriving with the TSP. And folks, many of you watching probably are confused about, number one, how you start the TSP, what your options are, what to do later on in life with that money you already have put aside. Marty, want to cover all that today?
Absolutely. I tell you, we see more and more of our listeners and viewers come in and we see a lot of federal employees, and TSP is their main vehicle for saving for retirement, so it's crucially important for them, Coach.
So we're going to cover the pros and cons of the TSP today. And the pros are it's a good way to save money. I mean, we're all going to retire one day, and most of us don't have that pension plan that our grandparents had where they'd work for a company for 30 or 40 years and then retire and get a paycheck.
Yeah,
every single day for the rest, or every single year for the rest of their life. That's called a pension. Well, folks, you can design your own pension if you have money put aside, and that's why we love the TSP, using the funds available for you, the options available to make sure to build the money up. Let's go over some features of the TSP.
Yeah, well, the biggest advantage there, obviously, is that you have the advantage to go in and put money in on every single paycheck that goes in. You have that contribution to that plan. And it's a perfect way. What basically that requires you to do is what's called dollar cost average into the market. You basically can let the fluctuation of the market work for you, Coach. And so what happens a lot of times when people invest money outside of a retirement account or a TSP, they try to pick and choose or time the market, when's a good time to go in. And that's one of the big advantages of the TSP is that amount goes in there every single pay period. So that volatility of the market can work for you versus against you.
That's always fun when you take volatility and turn the tables on it, and now you benefit from that.
That's exactly right.
I've been dollar cost averaging with some of my investments since high school, putting money in every single month at the same day each month, the same amount. And that way you get the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows, but you have a consistent, persistent, reliable retirement fund that you're building. And so let's look at exit planning though. So if someone's watching, and again, we're going to go over all the different options later on here in this series. But if someone's watching right now and they have a nice balance in the TSP, and maybe folks you don't understand it, and maybe you're a CSRS, FERS, or who knows all the alphabet soup that's out there right now. But let's make sure to show folks some of the exit planning strategies here. What's one of the main ones that we utilize?
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of the TSP is that they do and are required. If you are age 59 and a half or older and you're approaching retirement and professional money management of your investment dollars are more and more important, they allow you to do what's called an in-service distribution.
And awesome.
It's very, very rare that folks know they have this as an option. It's very common in 401ks and things like that, but it's also absolutely available in that TSP. So we would highly encourage someone that's over age 59 and a half and they're approaching retirement to take a look and say, would that be advantageous for me to look at that in-service distribution, basically where I can roll that money over and I can do that without any taxes, without any penalties, and without any fees. And that is a huge advantage when it comes to that TSP plan.
Not having taxes is good. It's a tax-free rollover from where you are now into a place now that gives you many times a lot more options, a lot more flexibility, and a lifetime income that you are still in control of the money. Keep in mind, if you elect an option with the government, once you do that option, when you pass away, you have no other. Your heirs have no other options. Basically, they get whatever you plan for ahead of time, but they've lost control of the principal. With options, we recommend you don't lose control of the principal. That's important.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
When you make that list, you make the list of the pros, and we both know what the other side of the sheet looks like, or the cons. And that is one of the cons, Coach. You hit the nail on the head. Is that not every plan is perfect, and certainly. There's some advantages to the TSP, but there's some disadvantages that go along with the TSP, and that's probably, in my opinion, is probably the biggest disadvantage is you are so limited, to use your term, in those exit strategies and what we can do, and they give you just a couple, 2 or 3 options to choose from.
Well, basically what we look at the TSP, it's not the same as government pension plan, but it is like a private company's 401k.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, and that being said, there are some options to have matches on here when people put money in.
That's exactly right. If one enrolls in the TSP plan, automatically, without any election or anything like that, they're automatically going to start putting 1% into your TSP plan. They want to get you started no matter what.
Better than nothing.
Yes, better than nothing. And so the other, I guess, which would be in the pro column, is they do give you the ability to put more and more in there. You can actually put up to a maximum of $19,500 per year into a TSP plan. If you're a little bit older, you can do a little bit more, but $19,500 is a nice little nest egg to put back in every single year.
Well, again, because you're building up a lump sum that we can, in effect, turn into a yearly income for the rest of your life. We call it the green flag on the mailbox. The importance of pre-planning, though, folks, don't wait till the day before retirement, the day after retirement to get the income plan put together. So if you are in what I call the financial red zone, which is any time over 50, or if you're within 5 years of retirement, it is time to make sure that we have that simple plan done for you and making sure that you understand the income options you have available to you. You do this every single day with folks.
We do this every single day, and we want folks to go completely eyes wide open. They know exactly what every single option is available to them. We kind of hold their hand in making those decisions for them. We want to be sure that what the decision that we make is well thought out, it's well planned for, and it's individualized for their situation. And having that individualized plan is absolutely critical in retirement, as we know.
We also have the BRS, which is a blended retirement system. It's like this, so that's the third option was introduced last year. The blended option was put into effect in the 2020 year. Okay, that was the year of the coronavirus. I know that now. Now let's look at keys to getting started. What should people do when they say, "Gosh, Coach, I can't afford to get started"? Is that an acceptable answer?
It's absolutely not. I mean, if that procrastination is probably one of the biggest hurdles that we see, Coach. Is that's not. And you've talked about this in other series before where someone would start in their early 20s and invest just for a few number of years, and take an example of maybe taking someone 10 years older and then starting, how the person that started so much earlier had so much more in their account.
Well, it's compound interest. So the sooner you start, the better it is for you. But starting small, putting a toe in the water, and then seeing how it doesn't affect you that bad, and then putting more in every single year, you're not hurting anybody but yourself if you don't put the money in. You know, a lot of people say, "I can't afford to save in my 401k or my TSP." You can't afford not to. This is your retirement, folks, we're talking about. So the future you will thank you for saving. Now, one more option I want to talk about here before we go on to the next segment is traditional versus Roth TSP. Explain to the folks why it's important to maybe consider the Roth.
That Roth option has really become very popular in the last few years, and I think it's fairly new to the TSP system. The traditional IRA, the traditional part of the TSP, the money goes in pre-tax.
Yep.
It grows tax deferred. Grows for a long number of years, you finally retire, and when you take the money out, you pay taxes on it as it comes out.
Right.
The Roth option, which we think, and a huge proponent of that Roth option, is the money goes in post-tax, but
after tax, in other words.
After tax, and then later on down the road, imagine having an income stream coming out of a retirement account that is free from all federal and state taxes. So if someone comes in and has a Roth option available to them, 9 times out of 10, we say, "Gosh, why not take advantage of this unless you're only 6 months a year away from retirement?" But if you have any time before you think you were going to retire, that Roth option makes all the sense in the world.
At least do half in the Roth and half in the regular. You're allowed to do that too. And the beauty here is that if you are not through a TSP or a 401k and you try to save in the Roth, you're limited to how much you can save. With the 401k, you can do about 2.5 to 3 times more in the Roth than you would be able to do in a private sector.
That's exactly right. And if, you know, in some cases, it probably might not hurt to even run that by your CPA or tax preparer. Say, hey, I got a new Roth option available. If I start doing this post-tax or after tax, you know, is that going to affect my taxes in a dramatic way? So that probably would never hurt. Not hurt.
Make sure your CPA is a forward-looking person, though. We've seen some CPAs that don't understand things sometimes, and they don't want to know. They don't want you to know they don't understand it, so they just say, "I'm not sure." Well, they're not sure because they don't understand it. So make sure to meet with a planner and the CPA together so the planner can explain the benefits of the Roth with the CPA, just in case you're all on the same page, in other words.
Do not take investment advice from your CPA.
No.
If my muffler is making a noise, I don't go to my dentist.
Yep.
I had a client years and years and years ago. He said, my attorney told me that I could roll over this beneficiary IRA. And I said, "No, sir, you cannot do that." And he was adamant. He said, "No, my attorney said that I could." I said, "How long has he been securities licensed?"
0 years.
So be very careful about that.
Well, we don't give legal advice and we don't give tax advice. We use a CPA for tax advice and attorneys for legal advice. And both of them should not give financial advice. They should use investment advisor, financial planners, retirement income certified professionals. Now, one final thing. This is a long segment right here, folks, but we're touching on a whole bunch of things. Matched contributions. Now, we said that you get 1% automatically when you start working. But they'll match up to 5% of your contributions too.
They absolutely do. They match dollar for dollar up to 3%, and then 50 cents on the dollar for that remaining 2.
Free money.
I mean, when you match dollar for dollar, that's basically saying I have a 100% return on my money.
Yeah.
And so, especially a lot of folks will come in to see us, our listeners and viewers, and And I describe a 401k, it's like having a basket full of money and saying you're free to reach in here and grab some, and you go, no, I'm fine. I don't think I want to do that. I don't think that'd be the most prudent approach we'd ever want to take.
I think I'd take the basket. Yeah. All right, so we're going to a whole lot more great. So we're going to cover all the different fund options and all the different options for income in your TSP when we come right back.